Let's kick off news this morning with our very first story. Now, Vice President Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallow has said President Bio has declared 2020 a year of delivery. The Vice President was speaking at a forum on cabinet and public service systems at the Miata Conference Hall, Brookfields in Freetown. Thomas New has the report.
I have declared the workshop open. Thank you very much.
This seminar was a prelude to an interface with cabinet ministers, deputy ministers and permanent secretaries on the priorities of the government. Vice President Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallow informed his audience that teamwork and solidarity are important during the discharge of their duties. He called on permanent secretaries to be professionals and refrain from undermining the system. He said over the years, because of the nature of politics in Sierra Leone, they have seen a system referred to as progressive politicization of public sector, a system inherited, government inherited, and which they are working very hard to wipe out. Vice President Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallow said the critical campaign message of the new direction has been human capital development. He said government is rolling out an ambitious social programs that include education, which has taken 22% of government budget, health, water and infrastructure. Vice President Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallow said the relationship between ministers and professional heads must be cordial, or else there will be a total disconnection, and this will not augur well for the vision and aspiration of government.
Because you need to work as a team, you need to work together because we have a shared destiny and a shared future. So with that, solidarity is critical. We have a shared future, we have to work together. There are challenges, but let's understand that today we are doing well as a country. Like His Excellency says, we can do better. So let's build on the gains we have established so that together we can move His Excellency new direction.
Secretary to President Dr. Julius Sandy said the ongoing blame game, bashing and finger pointing should cease and call for effective working relationship, trust and confidence. He reminded them that the habit of ministers continuously asking for changes in the postings of permanent secretaries and other officers and inserting officers of their choice undermines public trust and confidence in the civil service.
I spoke to my audience on a number of issues, including selflessness, professionalism, integrity, impartiality, inclusiveness in MDAs, transparency, accountability, communication within and with other MDAs, knowledge, and above all, teamwork.
The Cabinet Secretary and head of the Civil Service, John Sumaila, said the forum shows the commitment and ambitions of leaders. For News Hour in Freetown, Thomas Neal reporting.
Now to a story which has been trending in the media. P Costa, the leader of Liberia's Council of Patriots, who has been traveling to the United States of America via Sierra Leone, has been arrested. Now, Mr. Costa was arrested on the orders of the Liberian government. The reason for his arrest remains unclear, but civil society members held a press conference to express their concern on the issue. The SLBC's Zolatu Hamid was at the conference.
7 civil society groups met with journalists at the office of the Center for Accountability and Rule of Law, CAL, to call on the government to protect the freedom of movement of P Costa, who has been held in Sierra Leone.
While the government of Sierra Leone has not provided any public statement on the reasons of his arrest, we have been reliably informed that Mr. Costa was arrested reportedly on the orders of the Liberian government. As of now, we are not aware of any charges being preferred by the Liberian government against Mr. Costa. And we believe that the only reason the government of Liberia is proceeding is because of its leadership role in the 30th December 2019 nationwide protest in Liberia.
The government has an obligation under both national and international laws to protect human rights, especially the freedom of movement by ECOWAS citizens. The civil society groups believe that if Mr. Costa is sent to Liberia, he will face severe torture and Sierra Leone will receive huge percentage of the blame if he was to send to Liberia.
But also remember that we have Sierra Leoneans in Liberia. Also remember that Mr. Costa is somebody who can mobilize 1 million people and more in Liberia. So you understand what that means for our citizens who live in Liberia. This is why we urge the government of Sierra Leone to think about it, have a really comprehensive, holistic view of the situation before making any decision one way or the other.
Mr. Costa is currently in an unknown location.
We'll surely be bringing you updates as events unfold regarding the arrest of Henry P. Costa. We continue with news hour this morning. The country is witnessing increase in the price of building materials, including cement and iron rod. Many have linked the rise in price of building materials to a whole number of issues not limited to a shortage of diesel. Now the SLBC's Joseph Ray finds out more.
Cement and iron rod are very essential in construction work and are needed daily by masons. The recent rise in the prices of these two commodities have been linked to the recent diesel scarcity.
There are limited factories that manufacture cement in the country, and we buy iron rod and cement at high prices, pay transportation fees and tax. That is why we increase prices. We are calling on government to maintain price control.
A builder, Dauda Tijan, who depends on cement and iron rod for his work, told the SLBC what the hike means to him.
It means a lot to me as a builder, because without cement and iron rod, I can't have a job. And it even leads to delay in completing a job that I would have done. I am pleading to the government to ensure that cement is available for us and as well decrease the price.
Let them try come with cement, then let them decrease the price.
For Sasandin, who is also a builder, cement and iron rod are essential for his survival.
It
affects us, the builders in particular, because it will limit ongoing construction, and this will have adverse effects on our families. We are calling on the government to intervene in order to reduce the price of cement and iron rod.
Ask government for coming inside the situation to let them see how best they can control price.
One thing that this medium observed also was that cement was hardly seen in some of the shops we visited, save this place at SS Camp in the Regent community, where we saw some men loading a mini truck. The fleets of trucks and trailers that were lined up on the road leading to the factory's headquarters in Kleintown was also evidence that indicates there is a high demand for cement. Leone in the east end part of the city is a leading manufacturer of cement in the country. SLBC made tireless efforts to get authorities of the factory to comment why the shortage in the supply of cement, but they could not respond to us after hours of waiting. However, this man who supplies cement to the southern parts of the country explained his ordeal.
Before now, we only need a day to get supply. But now, I have been here for the past 5 days. And as you see, there are a lot of trucks. And I also pay 40,000 leones per day to park my truck. We are urging the government to get more factories to produce cement.
Government really appeal to them because the stream.
The Minister of Trade and Industry, Dr. Edward Hingasande, has confirmed to SLBC the availability of diesel products in the country. The Trade Minister, who was speaking to SLBC, said government will deal with any oil marketing company that is caught hoarding diesel products and will be fined 50 million leones. The warning by the trade minister came after a week of diesel shortage in the country, which has resulted to the increase of transport fares. The SLBC's Ibrahim Sambura has been religiously following the story.
And they are now currently supplying fuel to all outlets. So by today, I'm sure diesel is supposed to have reached most part of the country.
Dr. Hinga Sandin was responding to diesel saga in the country after a week of reports on diesel shortage making access to public transport difficult. Arriving at the MP fuel station on Pandemba Road, Duazak Junction, SLBC met an MP tanker offloading diesel. During our stay at the fuel station, we also saw vehicles waiting to buy diesel. The media crew monitors over fuel stations in the west end of Freetown. It was realized that only MP stations have diesel. Total and other oil marketers say they were still waiting for their supply. So what has led to this situation is the question SLBC puts to the trade minister.
There has been a trigger in the pricing formula, and like I discussed earlier on radio 98.1, we have looked into it and we're taking steps to ensure that whatever trigger there is on the pricing formula does not hugely impact on the daily lives of citizens of this country. And we've seen also comparing prices with in other countries, in neighboring countries, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Guinea. We see that Sierra Leone is really doing well in terms of the current price of our petroleum products.
The trade minister said Sierra Leone still has the cheapest pump price in the sub-region. Muhammad Abubakar Kamara and Kelvin Koka are minibus drivers.
I need to buy fuel because I sent my conductor to check around, to look around. I got information that they started selling fuel at MP station. So I sent him to check that if the information was confirmed. And he went there, and according to him, they've not started selling yet. So he made effort to come to us, and a colleague of his informed him that they are uploading fuel here.
On the rumors of petroleum increment, Dr. Sandy had this to say.
Expecting a slight increase in the price of fuel, but that should not warrant anybody to go about buying to stock, because the difference in the price does not really make much. You won't be making any profit if you choose to just buy or even stop from selling. That's an agreement that we've gone into with the OMC, and they're supposed to inform all dealers. The dealers are given license on the grounds that they should not be hoarding, and there's a punishment for hoarding. So if we catch any dealer hoarding fuel, we will just apply the relevant portions of the law.
Many say the scarcity is a prelude to increase in pump price, as it has most times been in Sierra Leone. Ibn Samora, Freetown.
Now, still with the issue of fuel scarcity in the country, for the past 4 days, there has been long queues in various fuel stations as a result of either shortage or hoarding of diesel. Now, most public transport use diesel oil, and the shortage has caused serious constraints for passengers flying from the regions to other towns. Now, rumors are now rise in price, and that there would be probably a possible increase in petroleum product by the end of the week. Well, for clarification on the issue, SLBC's Samata Bar spoke to Abubakar Eustace, who's the National Coordinator, Strategic Communications Unit at the Ministry of Information and Communications.
I spoke with the Minister of Trade before coming here, and what he told me that the board of the National Petroleum, the biggest oil marketing company, they instructed the management not to sell diesel to the public. That's what the Minister of Trade told me. And then, of course, they've warned the management of MP that breaches the laws that govern them, and there are penalties. So by the time I left, they are going to a meeting to settle that. So we hope that by the end of the day that will be settled. But then we continue to face problems with oil marketing companies. Because remember, just a month or so ago, again, there was some scarcity. I had to come and insist that there will be no price hike. But then from the discussions I've had, there is now a possibility of a slight hike because of certain things that have gone on in certain parts of the world. We're all aware of the tension between Iran and the United States, and that more than anything else has on two occasions now triggered oil prices upwards in the world market. Just about 2 months ago, we all heard about the attack on the oil facilities of Saudi Arabia, and then that destroyed 50% of their production capacity. And at the time, again, there was a hike in the world market. And quite recently, again, just last week, after the of an Iranian general, again, prices of went up in the world market. But we actually get the refined products from Hypocia. But then the thing is, this is business. The people who refine the products, they get the crude oil from the world market. So if the prices go up there, you expect them to also make a slight increase.
What led to that problem for the diesel?
The management of NP said they received instructions from their board not to sell diesel to the public. Understand?
For which reason? Well,
it is up to them, but the only thing I will say here is that there are penalties. It is not that diesel is not available in the country. They have some consignments, definitely, that can take us for a while, but they just took that decision. I mean, I think that's one way they think they can get the government to accept their demand for a slight hike. But we think that's wrong. You know, you don't have to punish the people simply because you want to stay in business. We believe in working with the private sector. We want to ensure that the private sector survives, because the private sector creates jobs, they contribute to the growth of the economy through the payment of taxes and what have you. So we cannot sit and watch them go out of business. But then to punish the people simply because you want some adjustment, no, that is very, very wrong, and that is what we are very much opposed to. And they are very much aware of the fact that there are penalties when they do so, because if the commodity is not available at all in the country, that's a different matter. But once it is here and you decide not to sell to the public, there are very, very tough penalties that you go. You know, so but we just hope we get over this as quick as well, because government as well. Some people have been talking about subsidizing. If we keep subsidizing, we continue to go into problems. Now, if you look around us in the sub-region, we still maintain the lowest pump prices. People can go out there and check. Liberia, it is about 9,800, understand, per liter. In Guinea, it's about 10,400 per liter. In Ghana, it's about 9,700, not even about 9,700 per liter. You understand? It is only Nigeria that has the lowest pump price, because Nigeria is an oil place. They already have crude, so they just need to refine. Here, we do not have enough storage facility. Over the years, the only refining facility we had went more for over 25 years. So these are the challenges we are grappling with.
So when will this situation come under control? Because people are worried. Transportation, there's an increase in transport fear by drivers.
Yes, well, you see, this is the other thing. I mean, that's why we are continuing to engage with drivers. Most of the drivers, like even taxis, they have not been affected because they won't on petrol. But they've also, they've also decided to charge 3-4 times what they normally charge, simply because they've heard that diesel is not available. I mean, why should we be taking pride in making life difficult for our compatriots, for the simple reason that we want to profiteer? Why?
He is Abubakar Joe Sise, National Coordinator, Strategic Communications Unit, Ministry of Information and Communication. Also, the continuing fuel shortage is causing so much burden on passengers. Some experts have also said that the shortage is premeditated. But what have civil society activists said about this unpleasant experience?
It means a lot to all of us because it's a conspiracy from the oil marketers. Firstly, we are deeply concerned over the discomfort that this so-called scarcity has created for the ordinary Sierra-Leoneans in the provinces and particularly in the city. You see, people are stranded for transportation. People fight. There's no transport. People have to walk for very, very long distance. Some people have to take about 3-4 weeks to come to the central airport of Freetown to go back. So that discomfort to us is a concern. So we want the government to address that first. First thing first. Secondly, the issue of diesel scarcity is complete bunkum. It's a movement. It's a lie. It's a big fat lie. It's just the usual artificial scarcity, and we've experienced this for it has become habitual. With just between 1 year 8 months, we've changed price 3 times. I was arrested some time ago. So we think this has become a pattern. Yeah. So we are calling on the government for them to handle this thing dispassionately, and then if there's any likely increment in the pump price of fuel that is disproportionate, we are going to stage a protest against this government, and we want this government to understand that. Let it go on news. The native consortium, along with other civil society, will stage a protest against this government if they increase the pump price of fuel disproportionately.
By disproportionate, what do you mean?
We already see what is going on in the international markets. Market, there are 2 drivers that drive price. 1, the international price per barrel, and 2, the exchange rate. Relatively, the exchange rate is, it's relatively constant for the past 1 month. So that's no longer a drive. But the tension between Iran and US has dropped the price to go upwards. So we understand that one. We are not oblivious of that. However, we want the government to take this thing with utmost seriousness. If it is possible, we want to even prescribe some solutions without even touching the pole-to-pole transport price, because whatever it is, when the pump price goes up, it has a pass-through effect on the consumer. So we are saying that is where we stand. That is where our advocacy lies, because we don't want the pass through. We don't want the money to be passed through. So we want the government, if it's possible, let them forgo some taxes. There are rumors of 10,000. Some are saying 12,000. And if they go to 10,000, we protest. That's our position. That if it goes to 10,000, we won't disclose our own position or what the ideal price. You understand? But, however, if they do it, disproportionately, then we'll protest. We are going to stage a protest against this government, and we'll continue to stage a protest. We don't even care about any arrest.
He is the Executive Director of Native Consortium and Research Center, Mount Abo. We are now moving slightly away from the issue of fuel shortage for a while and turn eyes to other stories happening. Now, since the start of the year, a series of fire accidents have been reported to the Sierra Leone National Fire Force. This is according to Fatmata Bintu Kamara, Station Manager, National Fire Force. She made this statement when SLBC visited the station to find out about the force's preparation during the drives. Marima Suba reports.
These are voices of residents at Columbia Davis venting out their anger at Government Rokel Secondary School for setting fire on garbage collected in the school compound. According to them, the inferno had almost gone out of control, but youth and the National Fire Force were able to put out the fire. Fire incidences are most likely to be on the increase during the dries, especially in the Harmattan season when the wind blows very heavily. Aminata Bangura shares boundary with the Government Rokel Secondary School. She expressed dissatisfaction over the manner in which the school set fire on garbage.
Well, the problem with them people there, all things so they do it.
The problem with these people, they always set fire on garbage, forgetting that our houses are just behind the fence. But they don't even want to know. They don't inform us when they want to set the fire. They just set the fire and leave it like that without anyone to control it. What would have happened if my sons were not around to manage the situation before the arrival of the firefighters?
If not to God, when we picking in there, like not trouble so for them also.
Frederick Cole Jones is the principal in charge of the JSS at the Government Rokel Secondary School. In a telephone interview, he confirmed to SLBC that indeed there was a fire at the back of the school, but they couldn't identify who lit the fire. He said due to the weather condition, they no longer set fire on garbage as they want to avoid fire accidents. What could be the reason for increase in fire accidents, especially in the dries? Fode Bangura is the sub-officer in charge of Green Watch as the National Fire Force.
Where you left something, you left matches, you can take the matches, you left and the blue time, you go mistake catch and fire burn. Now they talk about the naked lights.
We have what we call naked fires, and that is when the fire was caused by a matchstick. Other fires are caused by electrical problem, especially when people go out and fail to turn off their appliances.
Like where you go there now, sometimes you want come out, you get you picking, not left picking current down.
The sub-officer told me that since the start of January 2020, they have received over 10 fire incidences. He appealed to people to be very careful at their homes and avoid anything that will lead to fire incidents. Most times, fire disasters are related to human activities at their homes, offices, in their communities and on farmlands. Australia is presently battling with bushfire that has lasted for almost 1 month now. The fire has led to the loss of lives and animals. James Kamara is the Assistant Director of the Public Relations Unit at the Environment Protection Agency. He said the institution has been sensitizing and educating people on fire prevention. He said traditional activities related to agriculture must be well managed, especially when it comes to bush burning, because it has a lot of consequences on the health of the people, their property and even the environment.
Whenever you set fire to garbage or whatever, you are producing carbon, and that substance is not very good for your health. It is bad for our environment. It leads to climate change, global warming. You know, when we introduce toxic substances such as carbon into the atmosphere, then we are putting ourselves in danger, because what we need is pure oxygen for us to be able to breathe. And you and I know that when you breathe in oxygen, what you take out, which is carbon dioxide, is waste. But if the atmosphere is not pure, it's full of toxic substances, then we are putting our livelihood or our ability to survive at risk.
How prepared the National Fire Force is? Fatmata Bintu Kamara is the Station Manager, National Fire Force.
Our preparedness towards the Harmattan and dry seasons, like always, we are an emergency force, so we always prepare ahead of fire outbreak, because we don't want things to take us on emergencies before we are planning it. So we've tried to repair all our fire engines, ensured that they are in working orders, because some were having minor leakages and all the rest. So we've repaired all of them. And also we are envisaging that this year we'll have more firefighters to beef up our manpower, which will aid us a lot with our operations. And we are also hoping that this year we'll have a fire safety bill transformed into law.
However, people in the municipality have complained of low voltage of electricity supply in their community.
My name is Jamila Tu. I reside at Brookfields. The electricity supplied by EDSA is very poor. The voltage is low and it's not stable. A house near mine almost got burnt due to this situation. We are appealing to EDSA to improve on their power supply to avoid fire incidents, which is not good, especially at this time.
Most of the fire incidents that will happen na electricity business because
Meanwhile, the public relations officer of EDSA, Sanepo, confirmed that indeed there is a problem with the voltage system, but he blamed it on the people. He said EDSA has never been the reason for fire incidences, adding that they have refused to go to EDSA for the right person to do their electrical installations. Rather, they just get any person to do their electrical work. For SLBC News, Maria Masuma reporting.
We are continuing with more stories. The Minister of Information and Communication has presented the National Cyber Risk Assessment result to all stakeholders from ministries, departments and agencies and private sector. SLBC's Aruna Patrick Kamara was in attendance.
The presentation, which was done at the Country Lodge Hotel Hill Station, was to inform stakeholders on the feedback of the cyber risk assessment findings in the country. This is a third national cyber risk assessment process that was done in Sierra Leone. The assessment looks at baseline measures and national risk mitigations. Representatives from the United Kingdom said they did a cyber simulation exercise to help organizations test the incident management process and decision-making skill. The exercise was done on a rapid escalation, national emergency, halting an attack, and addressing the impacts and restoring critical service. The team also informed stakeholders about the United Kingdom National Incident Response Framework, which they said categorized national cyber emergency, highly significant incident, substantial and moderate incident, and localized incident, among others. The Acting Director of Communications, Ministry of Information and Communications, Mohamed Jallo, said government is making efforts to improve on the use of digital technology in the country. He said as governments, they treat cyber security with utmost seriousness. That is why they are always making sure the cyberspace is free for the consumption of the government and the private sector. The ICT Manager, Minister of Information and Communications, Mariama Yoma, said the biggest threats they noticed nationwide was cybercrime. She said the National Cyber Risk Assessment gives real insight on where to make worthwhile interventions in the area of prioritizing risk mitigation and informs a national cybersecurity strategy. On behalf of the Minister of Information and Communications, Deputy Secretary, Minister of Information and Communications, Abbas Kamara, said the involvement of the United Kingdom team was to show that UK will always support the country in strengthening their cybersecurity.
As the digital economy grows in scale and complexity, cybersecurity becomes of utmost importance to provide the much needed and necessary assurance and trust to the digital technologies that permit all sectors of the economy.
He said the country is about to introduce digital technology into the business sector, adding that the 2019 United Nations Digital Economy Report stated that digital platforms are increasingly important in the world economy.
This is News Live on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. In case you're just joining us, good morning to you and a hearty welcome to the program. We are continuing with more stories this morning. Head of Media and Public Relations of the Sierra Leone Police, Superintendent Ibrahim Kamara, has told the SLBC that investigation is underway to establish those responsible for recent hostility at the People's Congress headquarters at Brookfields in Freetown. Violence erupted outside the headquarters of the main opposition party, APC, between persons believed to be supporters of the party and those of the governing Sierra Leone People's Party. Superintendent Ibrahim Kamara spoke to Ibrahim Sugi Kamara in this interview.
Honestly, they're still finding out. It's a process. Process in the sense we have to do what we call investigations.
And the purpose for which you conduct investigation is to uncover the truth, to probe into issues. And then if you want to probe into issues, it means you have to listen to people. Sometimes you can construct, document precedents and so on and so forth. But the director of crime services has been directed to thoroughly and speedily look into that matter so that we come out with a finding and possibly be informed the public. That's what's actually happening.
Okay, so you've not found out anything as of now?
No, well, we are, like I use the word finding out, it means it's a work in progress. It's like the continuous chance, finding out. So work is in progress, and I cannot tell that we've already got, because that may sound prejudicial to the investigation.
Okay. Should the Sierra Leone police find out who really is responsible for that riot yesterday, where some people have been injured? Just come from the APC office where we saw some bandages on the head of some guys. What will you do?
Well, sometimes I don't like answering to hypothetical questions. I do not want to assume, I do not want to presume. Let's allow the natural course of justice, let's allow the natural course of investigation to take place. And then if somebody is found to be culpable, we always know what to do. I don't want to preempt what is going to be the decision of the investigators or whoever is on in the show. So let's leave that one. Let's forget about hypothesis and all the rest of it.
Okay, please tell us the current situation now.
Well, as I speak, like I said initially, the director of crime services has been directed to thoroughly and speedily look into that matter. And then secondly, we have a deployment there. We have static deployment. When the incident occurred yesterday, we were called to the scene. They went there and they were able to quell down the situation. We were able to disperse the people, and then we made our own deployment. So we are there. Yes, we are there.
Okay, finally, Superintendent, any arrest yesterday?
Well, from the information I got, but they didn't confirm to me that an arrest was made. But somebody could not be arrested at the time. But that doesn't mean somebody could not be arrested, because the way the situation was yesterday, maybe it was not possible for somebody to be arrested because they were throwing stones all over the place. But the fact remains, we are doing the investigation, and then if somebody is to be arrested, he will not be arrested.
He is Superintendent Brima Kamara, Head of Police Media, speaking there to the SLBC's Ibrahim Sori Kamara. Mothers Union of the Anglican Diocese of Freetown has reopened its newly rehabilitated headquarters at Tower Hill. And the move is to relocate the community school from its old structure to a newly refurbished building. The SLBC's Aminata Fofana has the story.
From funds from members, it took the union 3 years to complete the renovation of the office, according to Mrs. Juliana Paris, Vice President of the union. She said the community school was using an ancient building which was not conducive for learning. The concern was brought to their notice by the school authorities and community stakeholders. The union, she said, refurbished their office to use as a multi-purpose building which will be used as the union's office and temporarily used as a community school.
We have been helping needy children, needy adults also, and we have been helping families that has met with adversity. Their family life has met with adversity, being they are having problems with their husbands and children at home. So we intervene and see how we settle the matter. And sometimes we help them with a microcredit funds.
Bishop Wilson, head of Diocese Sierra Leone, officially unveiled the building. For SLBC News, Aminata Fofana reporting.
President Julius Maada Bio has attended the opening ceremony of the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week at the Abu Dhabi National Exhibition Center. The Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week is a global platform for accelerating the world's sustainable development. as an action-oriented platform aimed at fostering partnership and developing solutions. The Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week positions the United Arab Emirates at the forefront of sustainability programs. Now the SLBC's Hawa Mosiri has more on this.
Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week is a global meeting for advancing the world's sustainable development goals and a catalyst for knowledge transfer, collaboration, implementing strategies and delivering solutions on pressing challenges. The week brings together world leaders, policymakers, industry specialists, technology pioneers, and the next generation of leaders. His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and Deputy Supreme Commander of the United Arab Emirates Armed Forces, said that UAE would continue its vital role in uniting efforts to find solutions to the major challenges facing the world today. He said it was time to chart a common path to build a promising and sustainable future for all. The Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week, according to him, reflects UAE's leading position as a strong supporter of global sustainability initiatives. The day's ceremony was also held alongside the Zayed Sustainability Prize Awards event, where President Eustace was honored to present one of the awards.
It is now my privilege to invite His Excellency, the President of Sierra Leone, to award our next Global High Schools winner.
And taking on a conducted tour to get first-hand information. Minister of Energy Alhaji Kanjasisi explained to SLBC about the significance of the annual event, which caters for world leaders, ministers, investors and policymakers across the globe. In the era of renewable energy and opportunities for Sierra Leone, this is what he had to say.
A lot of discussion now. The trend is that the renewable energy space we should pay more attention to it for very obvious reasons. One, we have been faced with a serious threat of degrading climate conditions, climate change there. Energy is very expensive, fossil fuels, HFO, the diesels and petrol sources of energy, which most developing countries like ours, which we're using right now, is becoming unsustainable, and it's not good for the environment, and it's not really good for also succeeding generations. So we right now, this current generation, we have a responsibility to preserve the world and to save the lives of generations yet unborn. And this is why every year we're here. So when we talk about renewable energy, we're talking about sources like solar, like hydro, like wind. This is a trend right now. And there is a need for us to invest more in those sources of energy and really leave the more expensive and unclean energy, so to speak.
The Zayed Sustainability Prize is a tribute to the legacy of the founding father of the United Arab Emirates, the late Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, a pioneering champion of global sustainability and humanitarianism. The prize recognizes the rewards organizations and high schools that demonstrate impactful, innovative and inspiring sustainability solutions. SLBC TV News Eye in Freetown, Harmos reporting.
And now from His Excellency's visits to Abu Dhabi, we now head straight for news around the African continent. Sudan's army has quelled a rebellion by former elite troops loyal to ousted leader Omar al-Bashir. Shooting broke out on Tuesday in the capital Khartoum, and the city's airport was briefly closed, aimed at the clashes. Violence was sparked by a row over severance pay for officers in a much-feared intelligence agent that is being overhauled. Now, 2 soldiers were killed and 4 were injured in the worst unrest since Bashir was overthrown last April. Officials say 40 of the multitainers surrendered the intelligence chief Abu Bakr Mustafa, hunted in his resignation after he was blamed for failing to collect weapons from the pro-Bashir forces. Now, the West Africa coastline recorded a 50% increase in kidnapping a sailor last year, according to a maritime watchdog, even as overall privacy incident declined worldwide. The number of sailors kidnapped off West Africa rose to 121 last year, from 78 in 2018 in the Gulf of Guinea, says the International Maritime Bureau in its annual report. It's present 90% of global kidnappings reported at sea worldwide. The Gulf is considered amongst the most dangerous waters in the world. It stretches from Angola in the south of Senegal in the north. The report said incidents of piracy has declined in 2019, but vessels remain at risk in several regions, especially the Gulf of Guinea. Thousands of Eritreans, including many children, continue to flee Eritrea because of human rights abuses at the nation's indefinite national service, a human rights watchdog report says. Now, legally, conscription begins at the age of 18, but many children are also caught during roundups, especially in urban areas, and sent directly to military camps, HR says in the Worldwide Report 2020. It cites the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees as saying that 507,300 Eritreans had fled the country between 1993 and 2018, about 10% of the world's population. It adds that conscientious objection is not recognized and is punishable harshly. Most men and women are forced to work in government-run industries, whilst others are forced to work on infrastructure run by foreign mining companies, often with little pay. Alright, you're watching News Hour live on the SLBC television. We now go for a short break, and when we return, we'll continue with some sport and entertainment news.
You're watching the SLBC on Channel 31, the authentic voice of Sierra Leone.
Either to promote, display, or advertise commercial product, notably fashion clothing in fashion shows, or severe as a visual aid for people who are creating work through their pose for photography. In Sierra Leone, modeling is faced with many challenges, especially when models are not better paid. Now, to know more on this, SLBC's entertainment desk takes a look at modeling industry in Sierra Leone.
Modeling as a profession was first established in 1853 by Charles Frederick Worth. This includes fashion, glamour, fitness, bikini, fine arts, body parts, promotional models. Models are featured in a variety of media formats, including books, magazines, films, newspapers, internet, and sometimes fashion models are featured in films and music videos. There are no standard physical requirements for a model, and most designers will use women of varying sizes and ages to showcase their designs. Models remain unknown and fairly poorly paid. In Sierra Leone, modeling is already pacifying entertainers, and it all started from the arts of seamstress and cultural display. Zainab Sharif, Hawa Kamara, Esther Marie Bangura, Josephine Kamara, among others, are Sierra Leone beauty queens that started their careers as models. Most of these models go into pageantry due to lack of support and finance. Natasha Beckley is one of Sierra Leone's beauty queens. After reaching the age of retirement in modeling, decided to establish a modeling agency called I Am Myself, meaning I am an ambassador of Sierra Leone. This modeling agency has groomed beauty queens and models like Hawa Kamara, Josephine Kamara, and many others. It is no doubt that establishing such agency in Sierra Leone could not be an easy ride. Natasha Beckley told the SLBC's entertainment desk about the challenges encountered in establishing a modeling agency in Sierra Leone.
Confidence. Our daughters lack confidence. So here I am. A day in my shoes. I think I really need to do like another special where Sierra Leoneans get to see what I do on a daily basis. We have to build the confidence of these young girls. We have to reassure. And what pageant organizers are doing, they are maybe telling a young girl, come and do my pageant, you're going to be the winner. Come and do my pageant, you're going to be the winner. So that leaves me, whenever I try to reach out to young girls, they expect to be told that you're going to be the winner. Because we've had a system where girls need to be told you're going to be the winner and they're scared to fail. That's actually what I was looking for when you started the interview. We reach out to so many people, but they want that assurance that I'm going to win, I'm going to be the winner. And if you haven't worked for it, I'm definitely not giving it to you.
Dozie Bangoa is a 22-year-old model and beauty queen who started her career in 2018 and has participated in few modeling events. She has represented Sierra Leone in previous Miss Universe and modeled for many designers. Would she take modeling as a full-time job, knowing fully well that the art does not offer sufficient income?
Sure, it's a passion. It's something that I love. It's something I want to show the world how much I want Sierra Leone fashion or modeling to go.
27 years, most Sierra Leonean models who became beauty queens are expected to retire, and a good number of them cannot afford to maintain their modeling skills because of either childbirth or marriage. Josephine Kamara is an obvious example. After participated in several pageants and represented Sierra Leone for Miss Earth, she got pregnant. Until now, she has not resumed her career as a model or as a beauty queen. But what should models do to maintain their careers? Natasha Beckley has this to say.
I want you to see substance in yourself and help me bring it out of you. You have to believe in your craft. And everything that you put your hands in, you have to believe and you want it to succeed. So for me, what I'm trying to say to everybody, especially working with me, I just want, girls to eat it. Have you ever loved something so much you wake up and it's the first thing you think about? You go to sleep and it's like when you're going to school, that degree, you work so hard for that degree, you just can't wait for graduation because that's that certificate of accomplishment. When you're doing fashion, when you're rapping, when you're playing, you're doing music, when you play soccer, the accomplishment is you getting to represent your country and you actually reaping the benefits of the time that you've put in.
For a while now in the international arena, men are now involved into modeling industry, advertising perfumes, wristwatches, vehicles, and other masculine items.
And now to end the news, a recap of our top stories. Vice President Dr. Mohamed Jallow has said 2020 is a year of delivery. Civil society has called on government to release the leader of Liberia's Council of Patriots, Henry P Costa. Traders and merchants have expressed concern over the increase in the price of cement and iron rod. And the Minister of Information and Communication has presented the National Cyber Risk Assessment result. That's all in this edition of News. I'm glad indeed you could join me. Now stay tuned to the SLBC for more informative programs. Up next is Good Morning Sierra Leone. I have been Eustace Victor Jones. Goodbye.
Hello everyone, my name is Eben and you're watching SLBC. Don't touch that dial.